Alright people, what's going on? Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel. Got another video for you guys today. Before we begin today's video, please make sure to drop a like down below. It definitely helps the channel out a lot, and it's very easy to do. Please make sure to do so. Also, make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel to get more content from yours truly now and in the future. And finally, hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live or post new content. Now today, I wanted to have a discussion about something that's been on my mind for the past couple of days as we've gone through training camp and as certain vibes have been, felt in this new era of Cowboys football. With the new coach, with some new ways of going about things in the organization, here we are in training camp learning about things that are going on, and I'm getting a really good feeling about this 2020 season, assuming that we're able to play it. Now, as the title suggests, is it fair to call the Cowboys Super Bowl contenders, or rather, are the Cowboys Super Bowl ready? Now, for me to answer this question, I'm going to look at a couple things and just talk about how I feel that this roster has progressed from 2019 to 2020. Now, I'm not trying to rehash or do this kind of stuff because I've already gone in detail about how I felt about the offseason for the Cowboys, but just for kind of clarification's sake, if we look at last year, the Dallas Cowboys had a pretty stacked roster in terms of who they had on both sides of the football. Then as things went on in the 2019 season, early on it did look like the Cowboys were going to be one of those teams to really test, oh, this team is really going to do very good. And then halfway through the season, they're 6-4, and then things fall off and they go 2-4 down the stretch. Now, I understand that certain things happen and stuff like that, so it's kind of like you're not going to win every game. But I will tell you this. Last year, it was a perfect storm of just things going wrong, the coaching staff not being prepared, and then the players just playing very anemically towards the end because of that vibe that we were getting with the team. Now, let's go fast forward. We have a new head coach who has Super Bowl experience, a new coaching staff with a ton of NFL experience. Not only that, we got some key players at positions that we needed. We needed to see some defensive tackles added to this team that can give us some solid production now. And we added some key studs in the draft to help fill this roster out. And I believe make this roster, I would argue, on paper better than last year's roster. You look at the offense, it literally has no holes in it other than possibly the offensive line. You look at the defensive side of the ball, the one side of the ball that has the most questions. The defensive line, in my opinion, got a hell of a ton better in this offseason as we entered the training camp and the addition of Everson Griffen. And the linebacking core was already, top level in terms of who we have there. It's just a matter of what do we do in our secondary. And if we can maybe do some better packages defensively, I think that the Cowboys will be able to do just as fine. If we can get to the quarterback faster in terms of our pass rush, I think that things will look better. Because if you have a really good pass rush, it really reflects on how well your secondary is going to play. So I think the Cowboys are really, really doing the right moves necessary to put us in that position. But more importantly, now what do we need to see to make the Cowboys Super Bowl ready? Now, in my eyes, I look at it this way. The Dallas Cowboys have to have a certain amount of players on both sides of the ball to really more or less determine, hey, this is the guys that we need to go out and be the top guys to carry us over the top. Now, I think that the biggest key thing when regarding this is, in fact, the whole, coaching staff change. I think that was probably the first key thing that the Cowboys needed to do. We needed a new change of mindset. We needed a new set of philosophies to be added into this mix in order to take what we have now and put it over the top. So that's number one. I think that that's probably, the most important aspect we were looking at going into this season. So there's that. Now, next is the roster itself. Now, as you know, there is a list out there that I kind of kept in the back of my head ever since the start of last year because it really made sense when I looked at it. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, it's Bucky Brooks' list of what makes a Super Bowl contender. Now, according to Bucky Brooks, him and DJ up at, the NFL Network basically came up with a roster composition for a Super Bowl contender in the current day environment. So basically, like top players in the following areas. So that involves having a quarterback that's in that top 10 level area, 3 offensive linemen, 3 offensive playmakers, 2 pass rushers, and 3 defensive playmakers. Now, with that all in mind, I do believe that if we go and look at this roster, I'm pretty sure it justifies the Cowboys being in that Super Bowl contender or Super Bowl ready type of status. So, franchise quarterback, we already know who it is, Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott played like a top 5 quarterback last year, and I see no reason why he can't this year. He's motivated to play because he didn't get his contract, and so not only is he motivated as a professional to do the best that he can do, but also he's incentivized to play out of this world to get a top-level contract going into 2021. So there is that. Offensive playmakers-wise, I do believe that the Dallas Cowboys have 3 offensive playmakers and possibly 4 if things work out. The current 3 that I have in mind are Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, and Michael Gallup. Now, CeeDee Lamb does have a chance to join that list if he shines and if he can, which I do think he will. It's just a matter of how much of an impact he can have on this year. He's not rushed to do so, but there is a possibility that he does very well. And when we look at these offensive playmakers, it's a very good set of offensive playmakers to have. You have an elite running back that not only can run the ball very well, but he can also extend your passing game, but also, being one of the best blocking running back in the league is very good, as I can't speak. But with all that kept in mind, I do think that the Cowboys have a chance to have 4 offensive playmakers when the season is over. And a fun fact, these guys are all under contract for the next year after this year. So there is that. Moving on, we have some offensive linemen that definitely need some recognition. Now, with Travis Frederick's retirement, I do believe that, yes, the Cowboys did lose a key integral piece there. But in his absence, a new face of that offensive line has emerged in La'el Collins. La'el Collins played very damn well, top 5 level worthy at the right tackle position, and I don't think a lot of people are giving him the credit where credit is due. I understand that he struggled early on, and I was for one saying, hey, this guy hasn't been doing so well. What do we do? Do we let him go? Now the Cowboys re-signed him to a 5-year deal, and he played very damn good. Tyron Smith is also in this list, as well as Zach Martin. Look, I understand that Tyron Smith, he has the whole back issues, and Zach Martin, he's getting beat up a bit. But I will say, the fact of the matter is that these 2 guys have been the staple of this offensive line for many years, and I do think we have a couple more seasons with them until they start tampering off. And worst case scenario, if one of them, steps down, we can definitely try to find another one in a future draft, if that's the case may be. Now, moving over to the defensive side of the ball, we have some pass rushers, okay? Now, of course, he says we need at least 2 pass rushers, okay? Now, I personally believe that the Dallas Cowboys have multiple pass rushers, especially at this current juncture. We have DeMarcus Lawrence. We now have Aldon Smith, Everson Griffin, and then if things do work out for Randy Gregory, you can definitely add him to this list. I understand that some people are saying, Space Cowboy, you might be stretching this. Why are you putting these guys in here? Look, we know what Randy Gregory can bring to the table. We saw when he's able to get on the football field, he is one of the better pass rushers on this team. That's number 1. Number 2, Aldon Smith, we're not expecting him to have that 19.5 sack season or be that top level guy he was in San Francisco, but be good enough to provide solid production. And Everson Griffin has been consistently, a good pass rusher since he's been in the league, especially with Minnesota. So I do think that when you look at these pass rushers, I think that the Dallas Cowboys really upgraded from last year. Because last year you can say, well, we only had DeMarcus Lawrence and Robert Quinn. Now you can say you have multiple pass rushers. Now finally, defensive playmakers. I think when it comes to defensive playmakers, do the Cowboys have any in the secondary in terms of safeties and cornerbacks? I would say no, they don't as of right now. But I would not be shocked if we see someone emerge from that field, like a Trevon Diggs, or maybe if he's given a shot, maybe a Donovan Wilson. But I will say this, I do think the Cowboys have some, they have some guys there that they can work with. I think that you have a guy in Leighton Vander Esch, when fully healthy, he's one of the better linebackers in the league. You pair him alongside Jalen Smith, and these two do very well together. And then you look at the defensive line. A lot of people aren't talking about this, but Gerald McCoy was a very damn good signing with the Cowboys because he helps bring a leadership level type of presence to that defensive line. And I think that when you put this all together, I think that the Cowboys do have a roster that is Super Bowl ready. I think they now have a coaching staff that could put the pieces of the puzzle together to make this thing work. And I don't think that it's outlandish to say so. I know a lot of people from other fan bases might be saying I'm trying to stretch the truth, or I'm trying to make it seem that the Cowboys are this or that. Listen, I understand that some people might be saying, oh, it's skeptical to be talking about the Cowboys being a Super Bowl contender at this juncture with a new coaching staff and some new pieces. And I can understand that. However, when you look at what's happening, you can see that the Cowboys have put together a roster on paper, and with what we've seen, that goes very well together. And that's the first part. When then we look at the major key aspect to this, and what is that? Coaching. I have been stressing probably for the past however many months that coaching has been the biggest upgrade on this team since the start of this year's offseason. And I'm standing by that. You now have situations where they're trying to do certain packages on defense, which should help. I know I was looking at a situation, or rather an interview with Chidobe Awuzie, who said that at least we can disguise what we're doing and not show what we're going to do, which is good. And then you look at offense, and it's just the Cowboys are so loaded on the offensive side of the ball that honestly, if they can strike first and they can put a ton of points up, they could probably put games very early away. And I think that the defense just has to do their thing. And I think that's the formula to success with the Cowboys. Put up a ton of points early on, and then run the ball with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard to wear down an opponent's defense and keep the ball away from their offense. I think that if all things work out, we could see the Cowboys very much so not only win the NFC East, have a deep playoff run, and maybe, if it's not this year, definitely have a chance to possibly replicate this success for now and also going forward. Now, I think I've gone on for long enough, so I want to see what you guys have to say in the comments section below. Feel free to drop down below what you think the expectations should be for the Dallas Cowboys. They've definitely been very much so raised as things have gone on. But with all that in mind, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for reaching the end of this video, and if you can, please make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to hit the notification bell to be notified when everything gets put out. With all that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Goodbye.